So hey guys, welcome to another Warframe video, and today I want to take a quick look at the new secondary shotgun pistol hybrid Euphona Prime. Now this is the newest weapon that was released with Banshee Prime, and you get the blueprint as a common drop from the Axii B1 relic, barrel as an uncommon drop from the Meso N3 relic, and the receiver as a rare drop from the Axii E2 relic. As I've said already, the Euphona is a secondary pistol shotgun hybrid, and you have to be at least mastery rank 14 to use it. It fires 1.5 rounds every second, it has an accuracy of 100, 5 rounds in the magazine with 40 rounds in total, it has faint riven disposition, and it takes 2 seconds to reload. Now, unlike many other weapons, the Euphona comes with 2 different fire modes. The primary mode fires a slug that does 325.1 damage with every shot, 292.5 out of which is impact, 16.3 is puncture, and 16.3 is slash. It has 30% critical chance, 2.5 times multiplier, and only 2% status chance. The secondary shotgun mode fires 10 pellets with each shot, each doing 88 damage. Now, out of that, 66 is slash, 17.6 is puncture, and 4.4 is impact, and it also swaps the stats around, so it only has 2% crit and 30% status. Now this weapon is somewhat controversial because people either love it and think it's the best thing ever made, or they kinda hate it and think it's somewhat garbage. Now, before I say anything else, I just want to say that I actually like the weapon. I think it's really fun, it's really powerful, it's good. However, it comes with a lot of downsides. First of all, having a 2-second reload time on a weapon that has a 5-round magazine is gonna get on your tits rather soon. Second of all, the primary fire is really inaccurate unless you're aiming down sights. The slugs have travel time, which I personally like, but I know a lot of people don't, and they're also affected by gravity, so if you're firing at enemies that are far away, the slugs will have an arc to them and they will sort of fall down. And most of the time, once the slug reaches a certain distance, the multi-shot slugs will split away from the primary one, resulting in far less damage at long distances. Third of all, the fire rate is pretty low, and this is a problem because the weapon doesn't kick an awful lot, and I often found myself in a situation where I shot an enemy, I lined my crosshair onto another enemy, and I just couldn't fire for a bit, and it felt sluggish. And finally, the accuracy on the secondary fire is really bad, and it will often fire the pellets to the right of your crosshair rather than where you're aiming, but then again, this is not that big of a deal because the damage fall-off on the secondary fire is absolutely horrific. The damage starts to fall off at about 5 meters, and if the enemy is like 10 meters or even farther away from you, you're gonna be doing no damage. And I do mean no damage, you're gonna be doing like 5 to 10 damage with each pellet if you're firing at an enemy that's like 15 meters away from you. So yeah, this weapon does have a lot of downsides that can get really annoying. However, the good thing about this is that the weapon does so much damage. I mean, this is the most damaging secondary weapon in the game. You can actually sacrifice some damage when modding it and go for utility instead to kind of make up for those downsides. I personally ended up with a 2 Forma build where I've added a V and a dash, but if I had maxed out my primed mod, it would be a 3 Forma build instead. And I'm using Hornet Strike for damage, Barrel Diffusion for multi-shot, Lethal Torrent for multi-shot and fire rate, then I'm using Primed Target Cracker and Primed Pistol Gambit for a lot of crit chance and multiplier, Primed Heated Charge, which is like the best elemental mod you can put on, and it also helps because the weapon does do mostly impact damage on the primary fire, so this helps with fleshier units. Then I've added Quick Draw, which helps me with reload speed and bumps it down to 1.4 seconds instead of 2, and this is much better. And finally I added Gunslinger, which helps with the fire rate. Now I know I may be considered a heretic by some for using utility instead of damage on such a strong weapon, but this makes the weapon far more pleasant and it does more than enough damage. It only takes 2 shots to take down a level 100 Ancient Healer, same with the Corpus Tech, 2 shots, and Corrupted Moa as well. It does take considerably longer to take down a level 100 Corrupted Bombard. It takes about 11 shots, but that's still pretty good considering how much armor the Bombard has. And I know I can use a status build with all 4 dual stat mods and use the secondary fire instead, which will take down a level 100 Bombard in just 1 magazine, but that build doesn't address any of the weapon's issues, and it also has a range of about 5 meters, so you're basically using a melee weapon. And for me personally, the weapon is a lot more fun the way I built it. I did try running without utility and I just was not having anywhere near as much fun as I'm having with this setup. I just like having the choice of either sniping enemies at a distance, just like I would with Lex Prime, and if they get too close, I just shotgun them away like I would with something like Vaiko Merlock. But that is very much a personal preference, so if you want to go for full damage with big crits or you want to go full on status with the shotgun mode, go right ahead. So would I recommend this weapon or not? Hell yes I would. This weapon is amazing. It looks cool, it sounds pretty good, and the Vaiko Merlock spinning animation you get every time you fire it is fantastic. And most importantly, the weapon is really fun to use, whether it is sniping enemies at a distance with the slug or shotgunning them into pieces at close range. But just bear in mind that maybe if you're not having as much fun as you thought you would with the Euphona, try putting on a couple of utility mods because it completely changed my opinion on the weapon. And that's pretty much it for the video, so I thank you very much for watching as always, and I will see you next time. Bye bye!